today's video, I am going to be breaking down a basketball play called Floppy. You may have seen this in NBA 2K. You've also probably heard a couple of NBA coaches talking about the play called Floppy. This is a very good, very easy play that you can run that's ran at the NBA level and is even a deadly play in NBA 2K. So let's get down, let's check out this basketball play. I know there's probably a lot of kids who are wondering if it's actually a real play that's used at the NBA level, and it is. So it's a play that'll get you a ton of threes. So let's get down, let's check this out really quickly. Make sure to go check out my complete guide to coaching youth basketball. Half of those proceeds from that book is going to help local youth basketball players be able to afford rep and AAU basketball. Now let's get down, let's check out these basketball plays. Okay, so to set this up, I like to set this up as a 5-out first, and your best 3-point shooters are going to be on the wing. Let's say player 3, let's say his name is Bobby, so we'll call him Bob. Bob is going to go down into the low post or into the middle of the key. These other 3 players have to be really quick because Bob only has 3 seconds in the key. He needs to get his butt out of that key, so these guys need to set up these screens as fast as possible. They should actually be setting these up while Bob is cutting to the rim. Now, player 5 is going to set up the screen here roughly in that mid-range area. Player 2 is going to set up the bottom screen of the staggered, and this is a staggered screen on this side. There's a reason why we will have player 2 at the bottom of the staggered, and I'm going to explain that in a second. So now we've got this staggered screen on this side, and we're going to have player 5 on the other side. Player 3, his name's Bob, he's going to either use player 4 and 2 or player 5 as a screen. This is our first option. If he uses player 5, then we're going to have player 2 using player 4 as a screen. Now in this case, player 3 would be the number 1 option, while player 2 will be the number 2 option. As soon as one of these 2 players receive that pass, it's going to be a 3-point shot right away. Now, we don't want players to force this, so if they don't have the opportunity to shoot, then they shouldn't. Now, if we go back into our staggered screen here, and single screen on this side, and instead of using player 5 as the screen, we will then use the staggered screen for player 3. In this case, there's a couple of different ways he can actually use this. So, number 1, if his man is probably trying to front face him or playing from behind, he could use the staggered screen like this. He could fake in and then pop out, getting that player stuck on player 2, in which case player 4 needs to move over because now he's taking a different path. Or, off of this staggered screen, he can go in between them, depending on what his defender is doing. This is how I like to set up my guys with Floppy, or with staggered screens in general. You want to be able to read your defender, and you've got options within that. If player 2 gets used as a screen, now, instead of using 4 as a screen, he's going to sprint across and use player 5 as a screen. This now gives, again, 2 options for player 1 to pass to, player 3 being the number 1 option. That is very important. And player 2 being the number 2 option in this play. If, for example, player 3 gets this ball, he can do one of 2 things, and there's different ways of how I like to set this up. Player 5 is going to clear. One of the options is having player 4 be a screen and roll man for player 3. Obviously, player 3 could take that shot, or he can pass to player 4 for the layup. The other option off of this would be for player 4, instead of setting the screen for player 3, he could set the back screen on player 1, and player 1 could cut. This would then be a pass to player 1 for the easy layup. And if this is the case, player 4 fills out, player 1 fills out if there was no options, and we can continue to run the 5-out offense. I like to run 5-out after our set play. If instead, let's say Bobby goes back to his original side. If instead, we have Bobby cuts to the post, 5 sets up that screen, 2 sets up the staggered with player 4. And instead of using the staggered, we have player 3 who uses that single screen. Player 2 will then use player 4 as a screen. And let's just say because player 3 is the number 1 option, we pass him the ball. Player 4 is going to then fill out, and player 5 has that option. He can either screen for player 3 or he can screen and for player 1. It's the exact same thing, it's just the opposite side of the court. This gives a lot of options when it comes to this play. This is a fantastic play to get a ton of threes, but if you run it a few times and you hit that 3, a lot of players are going to be cheating. A ton of players are going to be cheating. You could run this 5, 6, 7, 8 times. players cheat. And once they figure out a play, they cheat hard. Which means we set these staggered screens. If Bobby's man, if he starts running and taking this side, and his man goes underneath these screens, he needs to be able to then cut back, and he's going to be wide open. That's one of the options that we see. Another option that we see when it comes to players cheating is if you use this staggered screen, but you go in between and you fake high, like if you're about to go high, but then you cut back in, that's going to be a wide open layup a lot of the times. So anytime players cheat, you need to utilize that and burn them. If you can burn cheating players all game long, you could quite literally use this play like 8 times in a row. And as soon as the players figure it out on defense and they start cheating, guess what? That's when you burn them. And then as soon as you finish burning every single option, that's when you can switch plays. Or you can use it like me and use it maybe once a game whenever you need a 3. There's so many different options. Anyways, I hope that this play helps your team win more games. If it does, hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure to go check out my complete guide to coaching youth basketball that is down in the description below. And I'll see you guys again in my next video.